Hey, I'm here at Deathstalker, and this is J-Man.
Hey, how's it going?
Owen from the Action Elite.
Hey, Trips.
And a whole bunch of people. They are. They've, as J-Man has said, I don't think they've seen Deathstalker 1, 2, and 3, and 4.
No.
They haven't had their revenge in Deathstalker 2. That hasn't happened. So, so yeah, we're waiting to watch the latest one, Part 5, which is just called Deathstalker.
Just called Deathstalker.
Yeah. So, it's supposed to be cast and crew. I haven't seen one cast. Well, we've seen some cast.
There's some cast.
We've seen some cast here, but I guess they're going to do Q&A and stuff, so whatever. I hope to post a review of this. It looks awesome, but I haven't seen it yet, so here's hoping. Hi, so that was my time at Deathstalker. So I went to this premiere, and it was basically, a cast and crew premiere. It was really a friends and family thing. The director was there. Some of the stars of the movie were there, not Daniel Bernhardt, but other people, the lady that played Brisbane, who's one of the characters in the movie, the main villain was there. Anyhow, there wasn't much of a meet and greet, which was promised. I paid something like $150 all told, going in on what J-Man had paid, my buddy J-Man, who backed the thing. On crowdfunding. So my short PSA on all of that would be, if you're backing something on crowdfunding, back a physical thing like a book or something that can be in your hand. Don't back an experience. Don't back a movie experience. Because, frankly, I feel the producers of this movie took the money and ran and sort of half-assed, fulfilled some of the promises, but really didn't... They weren't mindful of any of that, and that's unfortunate. Some people did not get their screening before the movie came out, which was promised, and I did, but I didn't get to meet the cast and crew like what I thought was promised, etc., etc. We did get to, I know Owen from the Action Elite talked to the director for a little bit before the director was pulled away by friends and family, because that's basically what the screening was. Anyways, Deathstalker, the review. Deathstalker, of course, is a reboot of sorts, a sequel maybe, to the old 1980s, 1990s sword and sorcery franchise that I mostly saw on VHS and occasionally on television. I'm sure they were out in theaters too. There were 4 of them. They're very loosely connected. The actor from Part 1 who played Deathstalker was in Part 4. But then again, I mean, the characters can be completely different. It's different scenarios, etc. Those were all awesome. Mostly they were pillaging footage from Part 1, very cheaply made. But basically fantasy world stuff of like sword and sorcery and all that stuff. A brand of fantasy that's all but dead nowadays, killed off by the more realistic approach of Lord of the Rings. And, I'm not going to bag on Lord of the Rings, but that really changed the face of fantasy. Then after that, everything was more grounded and more realistic and not as in your face as like a classic Robert E. Howard Conan tale. We got Game of Thrones and stuff out of that. This is throwing back to the days of high adventure, with sword and sorcery and creatures, and no double guessing on things, no sympathetic villains, no sympathetic monsters. It's all just, there's a monster, you fight it, and there's a quest, and there's good and evil, and it's done, right? So this movie was awesome, because it is that exactly. It knows what it is, and the hero is like, this anti-hero. He's basically, Deathstalker of the title. He's basically a scavenger, and he goes to battlefields. There's a big war between these things called Dreadites and the rest of humanity, and the Dreadites are kind of like Deadites, but I'll get to that. The Dreadites, they're undead soldiers, and they serve like a sorcerer, and so after these battles, Deathstalker goes to the battlefield and takes jewelry and stuff from the people that are dead, because that he's Deathstalker, and he takes an amulet that then curses him, and then he tries to break the curse. And along the way, he meets up with other characters. There's a character called Doodad, which is a little person in heavy makeup who is voiced by Patton Oswalt. I would like to have seen what the original performance was like, because I like the actor, the physical actor. Patton Oswalt's performance as the voice of this guy is pretty neat. I did like that character. And Brisbane, who is a young girl thief, and very much like a thief from Dungeons and Dragons, stuff like that. So, you know, there might be ulterior motives, etc. You know, lots of creatures. Creatures are very, very imaginative. This is directed by Stephen Kostansky, I think. Sorry, I'm butchering the name, but he did The Void. He did Psycho Gorman. I haven't seen Psycho Gorman. I will now. But yeah, I should have seen it before this. But the monsters are. I mean, I was afraid that they're going to be shot like Power Rangers monsters, but they are people in suits. But they're given a lot of life and a sort of like, you know, dread to them. Like they're very dangerous. But they all have powers and very imaginative. Very imaginative designs, lots of cool features to them. They should all be Hasbro toys, but that's never going to happen. You will see a lot of referencing to other things if you love genre cinema, references to Daimogen and Masters of the Universe and Goosebumps and whatever else, Street Fighter. You know, there's a lot of that kind of thing, but to create something new. And I think the director really nails how to do member berries correctly. You know, like at the end, there's these creatures that looked a lot like the creatures at the end of Freddy's Dead. You know, and I get that, but it doesn't detract from the movie. They're a new thing in the film. I like the script. It really understands its own quest, and there's nothing really sort of redundant or contradictory in the quest. You know exactly what they're supposed to do. Everything makes sense in its own world. Even the logic of how Deathstalker defeats the giant monster at the end makes sense in its own world and feels clever. Very clever script because it's really tongue-in-cheek in this universe and in this sensibility of sword and sorcery action adventure. The look of it is great. They're really trying to go for that paperback feel, you know, but it's not color graded to shit. I can see everything and it doesn't look too monochrome. Which I find with a lot of movies today. I'm going to revisit this time and again. This is fantastic. Where does this rank as Deathstalker? It's newer and it's more coherent, and it doesn't use tons of footage from part 1 or anything like the other Deathstalkers. So, like, in that sense, it would be the best. But the discovery of part 1 and 2 when you were a kid really lends to how good those are in my mind, right? So I don't know. I mean, maybe right now I would say 2025, which is really Deathstalker 5. 2, 4. I have to watch 3 again. Well, you know what? 1's good too. Hold on. This one, 2, 1, 4, 3. 3 might not be the worst though. I don't know. I haven't seen 3 in a long time. I saw 1 and 2 recently a few months ago. But anyways, oh yeah, and this does take some humor from part 2 and everything. I know part 2 is a lot of people's favorites, but yeah, the humor is not stupid and annoying. At times it can be silly, but silly in a sweet way that makes sense in its own universe. You'll see what I mean. This is fantastic. Lots of blood and gore. Heads being, you know, chopped off and things like that, and lots of great creatures. So this is a fun time, and you know, if you're a fan of these kinds of movies, you'll really love this one. I don't know if they'll make a sequel, but I think this really nails it. No sexual content, but I didn't really miss it. I didn't miss it. I didn't think that Deathstalker was going to hit on Brisbane. Brisbane just seems more like a kid that they're trying to protect kind of thing. But yeah, and all the performances are great. I think they're all fantastic. The villain actor, as I said, was at the Q&A at the end, and he said he had ad-libbed some of the funnier stuff that he did. It was great stuff. So yeah, this is great. You'll really love the characters. You'll really love the story, and all the cool creatures. Fantastic stuff. I wish mainstream studios would make movies more like this, but they won't. And that's why this stuff has to be crowdfunded. But it's fantastic. So yeah, that's my review of Deathstalker 2025. I won't give it really a rating because I would say 10 out of 10 for now. It's great stuff. It's the kind of thing that we all complain we want to see more of, and here it is. It felt like a real movie. Really good. This compared to that Red Sonja thing is so pained. It feels like it was forced into being. Rather than this feels effortless, like, oh yeah, let's do this, let's do that. It feels exciting. It feels like everyone behind it was excited to make it. There you go. That's the best thing I can say about Deathstalker 2025. So, until next time, take care.